to get some food to eat, and all these things. And for me, when I moved here, I moved to New York City and immediately started having, well, I had actually just started to have physical problems with dystonia. And at that time, I had no idea what it was. So I had to stop playing, like, months after I moved to New York City. I had to not completely stop, but I had to like not make that central, and I had to get another job that would support me.
Right.
So I bartended for a while when I moved to the city. And that was a whole other experience because I got to listen to everybody's stories there. Because when you bartend, no one who works where you work that's their main thing.
Right,
you know what I mean? So
right.
you learn all these stories. I met a dancer. I met lots of people from other countries that were like working like summer jobs or this and that. You know what I mean? Here, like students and stuff like that. I met lots of people through that job, and that immediately showed me because I was also bartending like really close to Wall Street.
Oh,
and so I got to see some of the kindest people and some of the coolest people that I've ever met, and some of the worst people I've ever met in the small period of time that I was there. It was really intense.
Wow.
And I'm grateful for that. But that to me was a really good introduction to New York City. And then, the music industry, you know what I mean? Like, New York is great because whatever you imagine as far as like what your niche is musically, there are other people here that also love that and that also are trying to do that. So there's built-in community. You just have to find that community. You just have to make relationship with that community. So that's a great thing about New York, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are some of my thoughts.
So what challenges did you face that you had to overcome other than the dystonia?
So many of my challenges in moving to New York were psychological, around dystonia and around other physical things. But also, New York is so like, you can hear the best music. You can hear all these amazing musicians all the time, and it's so when you don't really have perspective on like, when you're ultra competitive, which is kind of like the nature of so much these days, you don't really have perspective to realize that when you hear these amazing musicians, they're just being honest. They're just like being true to themselves and being honest to what their output is going to be and what their message is, and it's not about like how bad they are, how many notes they're playing, how much slick stuff they play. So it's easy to hear them and become discouraged. It's easy to hear these crazy musicians, amazing musicians, and become discouraged. But for me, I can't really speak from personal experience as far as that's concerned, because for me it was always inspiring hearing those musicians. So because I was injured and I was like, all right, when I get back, you know what I mean? When I get back. So, and challenges with New York also puts serious pressure on relationships, right? Because it's expensive, and I think about this a lot, man. Like, think about like the average kind of right in the middle New Yorker, man. Like, they wake up, maybe they're married, maybe they have a kid, wake up, make sure their kids got breakfast, make sure their kid's ready to go to school, everything's cool with their spouse, get their kid on the bus or get their kid wherever, on the subway, whatever, jump on probably some kind of public transit, be totally smashed in, like totally like crammed in, sensory overload all the time, get off of that transit, maybe get on another piece, another medium of transit, and then get off that, walk to work. Maybe they've got a couple blocks. So again, sensory overload, cars honking, lights flashing, all this stuff. Do their job. Maybe they love what they do. Maybe they don't. You know what I mean? We're talking right in the middle.
Right.
Do their job all day. Potentially it's not a great day. Then they have to come do the same thing, sensory overload all the way home. Raise their kids for 10 minutes, eat dinner for 10 minutes, relax for 10 minutes, go to sleep, do it again. It takes a lot. I think it takes a lot to be in New York. You know what I mean? It takes, somebody told me, like, if you get through your first year, you've done well. If you get through your second year, you're here. I like that. And, I don't know if that's across the board, but I think that I have a lot of respect and a lot of empathy and compassion for people that have the courage and the fortitude to commit to life here, and trying to make their world and also the world around them a better place because of it. I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, man. What are 3 things that you're grateful for, man? And I want you to like really think about this. Like, if you just had to choose 3 things in your entire life, or 3 moments that you're really grateful for, that because sometimes I sit and I think about 3 things I'm really grateful for to keep my life in perspective. You know what I mean? To remind me of, like, no matter what's happening, that, hey man, it's gonna be cool. What are those 3 things for you?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Since I only get 3, I'm gonna have to say the first thing that I'm grateful for is absolutely love. First thing, the love, with my family and with my friends and with what I do, all those things. Love is certainly something I'm, incredibly grateful for. As far as perspective is concerned, I'm really grateful to my mother for always taking me to Fenner Arboretum Nature Center when I was younger, and showing me trees that were just so old, and like walking around in the world, and then going, and sometimes going over to the Great Lakes in Michigan and swimming. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for like the natural world, because it just puts it in perspective. Like nothing is forever, and there are so many things in this universe that are, embarrassingly older than us. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that just, it just shows you, just commit to what we have now. Commit to this right now, because there's no sense in worrying so much. Nothing's not that deep, basically. Yeah. And then, man, I'm pretty happy to be alive.
Right. You're the second person to say that.
I would say that.
That's
I would
good.
say that, man. It's there's a lot of really terrible shit in the world, and there's a lot of incredibly beautiful shit in the world. And there are, things that are incredibly difficult to deal with and to move through, and there are things that are insanely gratifying, right? But I'm grateful that I get the opportunity, right here, consciously, to engage in those things and to be part of those things. So I'm really grateful to be alive.
That's what's up. I'll give you one.
All right.
The one thing that I'm most grateful for, that I could always think about to center and ground myself, is my nephew. And so I always think about us getting ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, this one time we got ice cream, and like, I'm just eating ice cream, I'm just looking at him, and he's like coloring. You know what I mean? Woo. He's like, Uncle D, you want to color? I'm like, yeah, man, let's color. And for whatever reason, that memory just always makes me like, okay, man, it's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Kids, man.
Yeah.
I think kids are one thing that you can always trust, even if they're messing up, man.
Yeah.
I think something you can always trust about kids is they're doing the best they can, man.
Yeah.
Even if they're messing up, they're doing the best they can. Can't say that about everybody, but kids, man.
You're right. There it is. I want to thank Peter Nelson for coming on the Working Artist Project.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, Darren.
Till next time.